Welcome to the Sweat Simple podcast. I'm Brooks, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you learn how to eat and exercise for real life, not just those perfect moments. Because let's be real, there is a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change, but I'll also be sharing practical, real-life application because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. We are back batching some more episodes, and you guys, it has been a month. I was supposed to do these episodes at least 3 weeks ago, but we had family in town for our baby shower, and then we took a little baby moon, and I have some other exciting things coming for, you guys in the Sweat Simple squad, and taking care of my clients always comes first. That is always number one to me. So these episodes have been pushed off for weeks now, but I am so excited to be back here recording some of these episodes for you guys, especially because this topic today that we're going to talk about is something that comes up a lot, and it's something that I am really passionate about. When I first became a fitness and nutrition coach, I was very much in the typical space of everyone needs to track calories. In order to be successful, we have to track calories. We have to know what a calorie deficit looks like for you. And what I have kind of realized as I've gotten deeper into behavior change, that calorie tracking absolutely can be a useful tool. But at some point, actually from the very beginning, we can't only be focusing on tracking calories. We also need to be developing these long-term eating skills. At the same time, though, I tend to work with a lot of type A, data-driven women. I am one myself. And when we remove those guardrails of having these targets to hit, it can feel more difficult to understand how to fit in some foods, especially if we're used to tracking calories. So today we're talking all about how to know where sweets fit in when we're not tracking calories. And the reason I wanted to make a podcast episode about this is it actually started with one of my one-on-one coaching clients who she's been working with me for a while. She had been tracking calories for a period of time. And what we realized is that tracking calories had kind of lost its purpose. She was no longer using tracking calories for education. She was using tracking calories for guardrails. She was using calories to say, okay, I still have calories left at the end of the day, so I'm going to have a sweet treat. Or if I finagle my calories in this way, I can fit in all of these foods. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we had really lost touch of some of these long-term eating skills and some of these mindful eating skills that we want to make sure that we're building in order to be successful long-term. Calorie tracking isn't helping us if we don't know how to listen to our hunger and fullness cues, if we have no idea when we're eating out of something other than true hunger, like if we're eating out of boredom or stress or emotion and we don't know how to navigate those things. So if we are not also building up those skills and we are only focused on hitting numbers and saying, yes, at the end of the day, I checked that box, we're not setting ourselves up for long-term success. So with this client, we shifted her to more of a mindful eating approach. So rather than tracking calories, we stopped doing that. And we really wanted to build up these long-term eating skills. I wanted to help her be able to trust herself, trust her body, to know when she was full and satisfied, to know, when she should say yes to something versus no to something. I didn't want calorie tracking to be the thing that was guiding these decisions. And she agreed. My coaching process is always a team effort. I'm always going to get your buy-in. She agreed that that was the right approach for her. So that's what we went to. But within her first couple weeks of not tracking calories, the question came up from her, where does ice cream fit in? She was like, I love ice cream. I now know because of tracking calories, it's a higher calorie food, but without the guardrails of tracking calories and without knowing how it fits into my day, I'm not understanding how sweets fit in, how the ice cream fits in. And this can be a quote unquote benefit of tracking calories because a lot of clients realize how these foods can fit into their day. So they start to eliminate some of that guilt that comes from eating these foods because they realize, hey, I can eat these foods and I can still be in a calorie deficit. But like we talked about, when we remove those guardrails of the calorie target, then it can be hard to know, how does this food fit in? How can I incorporate these foods and still be successful? And this is actually exactly why we need to develop these long term eating skills so that while we're tracking or in place of tracking, we are also understanding, how do these foods fit in? Because eventually we won't be tracking. So we need to understand what that looks like outside of just, these foods fit into my calorie deficit. These foods fit into my calories. So how do we do that? Step one is identifying why we're eating this food. And this, we're talking about ice cream, we're talking about sweets right now, but this could be for any food. It could be, insert your favorite food. Is it chips? Is it Cheez-Its? Is it I'm naming things that are typically less nutrient dense, but these these foods aren't bad. These are just the foods that people sometimes have a hard time enjoying in moderation and feel like they shouldn't be eating, which absolutely isn't the case. But insert any sort of food that you're unsure how you would eat it if you can't specifically fit it into your calories because we're not tracking what that would look like. So, step one is really identifying why we're eating these foods. This client had already done a lot of work to notice when she was eating things out of true hunger versus something else, like eating it out of habit, eating out of stress, eating it out of boredom. That's probably your step one. If you're having a little sweet treat every single night, that's okay, but we do want to understand, what is the reason? And are we still wanting to have sweets for that reason? So, for example, if you have a thing of ice cream every single night after dinner, that's not a bad thing. We can have ice cream every night after dinner, but why is that happening? Is it because you have an automatic trigger that as soon as dinner's over, you start to crave a sweet treat? Is it that you're truly hungry after dinner and you need something a little bit more? Is it that after dinner is your time to relax and ice cream helps you to relax? Like, what is the reason behind eating these foods? And are you okay having food for that reason? For this client specifically, she realized that she was having a sweet every single night out of habit. It was something that she had gotten into after dinner. And for her, she identified, I actually don't want to do that anymore. When I have these sweets, I want it to be more intentional. I'm going to enjoy them more. So I don't want to have this nighttime sweet habit. It's no longer serving me. It's no longer serving my goals, especially now that I'm not tracking calories and I'm realizing, like, hey, yeah, these things maybe fit into my deficit, but they weren't making me feel the best. So I don't want to continue this habit. So first step is identifying, why are you eating these foods in the first place? Is it hunger? Is it habit? Is it stress? Is it boredom or emotion? And what do you actually want to do with that? The second step is figuring out more of those special occasion moments. So the time your husband wants to randomly grab ice cream or there's a birthday party. This is when we want to start to think about how often feels quote unquote okay for these things to be in your diet. And the great thing is that this decision is always up to you. We know at the end of the day, especially if you have been tracking calories and you're aware of what these foods look like, how they fit in, we know that we probably can't go to Dairy Queen every single day if we're trying to lose weight or if we're even trying to maintain it. We could maybe, but we might not feel the best. And then we might not be able to get some other more nutrient dense filling foods that are going to leave us feeling better. So if we know that, if we know these foods can't fit in every single day, probably, where do they fit in? This is when I want you to really come back to your values, both your health values as to like, what are the sorts of goals that you have when it comes to overall health? Are you someone who health and whatever that goal is? So is the goal to lose fat? Is the goal to improve your heart health? Like, what is your overall value around health? How do sweets fit into that? So if your ultimate goal is, I want to be someone who eats nutrient dense food that makes me feel really good. Okay, awesome. How often does ice cream fit into that goal, fit into that value? At the same time, though, we're not only talking about health and fitness values and health and fitness habits, we're also thinking about overall quality of life and overall values. So if one of your values, one of my personal values is spending quality time with my family and friends, and oftentimes that quality time involves sweet treats or involves some of these things. And I also just enjoy these foods. And a value for me is being able to get enjoyment out of food. So if that's also a value for you, how does ice cream fit into that? How does the sweet fit into that? How do the chips fit into that? So think about your overall health values, think about your life values, and then think about how these things fit in. Does it look like having them every week? Multiple times a week, every month? What does that look like? And this isn't going to be an exact science. And I know for some of you type A girlies, that's going to be tough because you just want someone to tell you, oh, this is the right answer. There is no right answer. You have to find what works for you. And this balance is going to come easier as time goes on. And while you're finding this balance, it is going to feel uncomfortable and you are going to quote unquote mess up. You might have weeks where you go to Dairy Queen randomly with your husband 3 times in one week. And then the next week you realize, you know what? That 3 times going to Dairy Queen, that didn't quite feel right. I didn't feel my best when I did that. That didn't really feel aligned with my core values. So now I know, I think 3 times a week of just going to Dairy Queen, that was too much. So I'm going to adjust that moving forward. So I just want to normalize that. Like, we're not going to get it right out of the gates. This is going to take some trial and error. I also want you to think about, when does it feel important to eat these things, and in what circumstances does it not? So this random Dairy Queen with your husband, this example that I keep giving, for me personally, that's something that I'm okay doing like once a month, but that isn't such a special occasion. That isn't so important to me that it's something that I want happening more than that. However, on the flip side, if it's something like I'm at home and my family wants to go to my absolute favorite ice cream place ever, that is an instance where I'm always going to say yes, probably, where I'm always going to eat those things. So when does it feel important to have this food every time? And when does it not feel important? So that's our step 2. We need to think about, what are our overall values, health and fitness and life related, and how do these foods fit into that? How frequently are we having these foods? In what circumstances are we having these foods? In what circumstances are we not having these foods? The last thing I want you to think about is how these foods make you feel and how you want to feel overall. So this client noticed that when she gets a large size ice cream, she doesn't feel really great after. And she doesn't want to feel that way really frequently. And now she's allowing that to guide her decisions, because now she remembers, okay, when I get the large ice cream, I don't feel great and I don't want to feel that way. So what that looks like is, one, she's having ice cream a little less frequently because she doesn't want to feel this way all the time. But 2, she's also opting for smaller sizes. So can we let how these foods make you feel guide some of your decisions? These foods are not off limits by any means, but we do need to start making decisions based on how we want to feel overall. Does eating these foods without any limits help you feel that way? And are you okay feeling that way? And I'm going to be honest, all of these steps of identifying why you're eating these foods, thinking about if you still want to eat foods for that reason, really thinking about how often these foods fit into your core values, thinking about how the food makes you feel, that can feel like more work up front than tracking calories. It requires more cognitive effort. It's not as straightforward. It's more nuanced. It's going to require more trial and error. That can feel like a lot of work. It can feel really daunting, but thinking about food in this way is also a game changer for your long-term health and fitness goals. So yeah, it is going to feel like a little bit more effort at first. And yeah, it is going to feel like you're thinking about food a little bit more than when you were just tracking calories. But the goal is that the more, I call it reps, the more quote unquote reps we get in practicing being more mindful, practicing thinking about food in this way, the easier it gets and the less you have to think about it as time goes on. So eventually, you are going to be so practiced at knowing how many times a week getting ice cream feels good to you, knowing in what situation getting ice cream feels good to you, knowing when you're okay, not feeling your best after having this versus not. Eventually, you've had practiced that so many times that it feels so ingrained that you're not thinking about these things. It's either an automatic yes or it's an automatic no, and you're not having to think about it quite as much. However, at first, you are going to feel like it is more effort. You are going to feel like it's taking up more space, and that's normal. That's okay. We're working towards these long term eating skills so that eventually this all gets way easier and you have way more skills than just tracking calories. So, that's all I've got for you. If you are interested in taking more of this mindful eating approach, but this feels scary to you, and you know it would be helpful to have someone like me, a coach like me, trained in behavior change, guiding you through it, because I will be honest, taking this mindful eating approach, this is not something that's as easy to do on your own. Developing these long term eating skills, this is where most programs fall short. They are only giving you a nutrition plan. They're expecting you to just track calories. And that's kind of what you're doing on your own for the most part. You're just giving yourself a nutrition plan, giving yourself a workout plan, and hoping you can follow through. So if you know that you need to develop these long-term eating skills, if you know that you don't want to track forever and you want to be able to know how the ice cream, how the sweets fit in without needing to track calories, shoot me a DM, apply for coaching in my bio. I would love to work with you and talk about what this would look like moving forward. So that's all I've got for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you next week.